Good morning, everybody. We're going to go ahead and start. Let's just take some deep breaths in and out. And we're going to do kind of like we did last week, where we just have a list of exercises. And we're just going to move through those exercises for about a minute. So the great thing is you can go at your own pace, go at your own speed. Good, a couple more. I'll try to remember to give you options. Let's bring the arms up. We're going to open and close. So just nice, loose, relaxed movement. Open, close, open, close. And I don't know, my husband thinks he's getting a little bit of a chest cold. And I feel okay. I just feel a little congested. But I know when it gets to be, the weather gets to be like this, that I start to get a little more congested in the morning and all the pressure change and everything. Good, bring it in the center, cross body reach. But I took like a 3.5-hour nap yesterday. I just was like, yep, I am gonna take a nap. The cat was on my lap, had the window open, it was kind of warm. And I took a nap. I was exhausted. But I've also driven up for a sewing class 3 nights in a row. So when you're not even getting home until 10:15, 10:30, and then you try to get to bed. So I'm going to bed at 11, 11:30, and just being tired, I think, was part of it. But I just took a nap. I was ready. All right, let's take the arms, reach it up, little side bend. And then my poor husband, he's been feeling a little off. Just not feeling great. And they had to inspect a big apartment complex yesterday. So his feet were sore. He was passed out on the couch by 8 o'clock. He was just exhausted. So I'm like, well, I think we're definitely starting to get to we're getting older phase. When you're excited, you get to take an afternoon nap. 2, 1, bring it in the center. Arms out to the side, thumbs pointing towards the ceiling. Just nice, good arm circles. So really think about good posture here, good technique. Good, and change direction. And then we got invited out on Saturday, we got invited out to just like a little bonfire. And they're like, are you guys gonna come? It's like, well, if we feel okay. All right, bring it into the center. And we're just gonna reach. We're trying to reach up and pick apples. Just a little side bend. So lift the ribs, drop the hips. Just nice, good stretch. And they're like, so, are you guys, are you not coming then? And we're like, as long as we feel okay, then, we'll come. Good. Here's 2. And 1, bring it into the center. Feet about hip width apart, toes pointing forwards. We're just going to do nice, good hip circles. But let's change direction. So we're doing about 5-ish of each. Now let's take our feet and we're going to open out into a duck foot. That just means our toes are opened out towards the corner. It also means we're opening from our hips, so the front of our thigh is actually pointing out towards the corner instead of right in front of us. Change direction. Bring it in the center, and now we're going to do a little bit of a pigeon toe. So again, we're moving from our hips. And that's kind of the tricky part when we do our hip circles. So a lot of times when we do this, what we end up wanting to do is just moving from our knees down. And we want to try to rotate in from our hips themselves. And change direction. And you may notice that certain movements where your feet are facing a certain direction, you feel tight. So I feel tight with my toes in. So that lets me know that my outer thigh muscles are a little tight. 2, 1. Bring it into the center, shake it out a little bit. Hold on to something if you need to. We've got our leg swings. And keep in mind this warm-up that we're doing right now, you can do this warm-up anytime before you're getting ready to work out. This is just a nice, good total body warm-up session. 4, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in, switch it over to the other side. Nice, good swing. So forward, back. Good. Here's 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now we're going to face the wall, face the table, whatever you're holding on to. Make sure you have space for your room to move. So you might have to step back a little bit, and we're just going to take it out and add a little cross. And it doesn't have to be a big cross. So for those of you, maybe you've had a recent hip replacement, or maybe your hips are just kind of tight, just bring it to the midline of your body. But if you can make it a cross and make it bigger, then give it a shot. You're going to be doing a little bit of rotating of your hip over your standing leg. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it in, shake it out, reset, same thing. So we just kind of start with our side leg lift and bring it in. Make sure you have space. I was actually starting to kind of kick my dumbbells a little bit on the way out. If you can take it bigger, great. If you can't, no worries. Everybody's different. Everybody's hips move differently. I would just think like a swing. We want it to be free swinging. And that's kind of what we're going for. I worked with a client who had really, really bad hip pain just because her hips were so tight. And even just taking her feet a few inches apart was really painful. Good. 2 and 1. Bring it in the center. So for her, just itty bitty movements was really painful. But once she started getting that movement in, they loosened up and she felt so much better. Let's take our legs nice and wide. Toes forward or a little bit out to the corner. We're going to do a little side lunge and a little side lunge. And this is another one. Feel free to have your hands on a table, nice and flat on a table for a little bit of support. So just a little side to side lunge. We're pushing our hip back. I always mention it's kind of like, cakewalk. If anybody I know most of you might remember what that is. Some of the younger students might not know what a cakewalk is. It's the one where you've got the circle and you've got like 10 chairs, but there's 11 people. So every round when the music stops, you got to sit. So sit your bun into that chair. And the last one standing gets their pick of the cake. Gets the best cake. Good. 2 and 1. Bring it into the center. We're going to hinge from our hips. You don't have to touch the floor. And we're going to go forward and then reach between the feet and then try to reach behind you. So forward, reach for the feet, reach behind you. And you can see that I'm not going to the floor, and that's okay. But what I want you to think about is not rounding your back just to be able to get farther. I want you to hinge at your hips. This is a really good hamstring stretch, but we're also working on our core posture here. So hinge, reach, reach, and reach. And if you start with wider legs, it's usually a little bit easier. And then maybe you can't get close to the floor at the start, but as we do a few of these, maybe you can get a little closer. Good. 2 more. Forward, middle, and back. And then forward, middle, and back. Carefully come back up to standing. Keep the legs nice and wide, arms out to the side. We're going to go for our side lunge, and we're going to reach for our knee, maybe our calf. Maybe you can reach towards your foot. You don't have to do the side lunge. You can always just think about doing a standing rotation. So not everybody is okay with doing the side lunge, or maybe you're just not feeling very coordinated today, and that can happen. Some of my chair students always love it when I give them something that challenges their coordination, and then I get it wrong. Sometimes you just gotta focus. Good. Here's 2 and 1. We're going to come into a plank position. If you need to stay standing, put your hands on a wall or on the chair. Step it back into a plank. We're going to do down dog and then back to plank. So down dog and back to plank. If you're standing, same thing. Just have your hands on a wall. I like to be on my toes to mimic my plank. Go for a down dog and then back to your nice tall plank position. Think about where your hips are. So we're trying to lift our hips. Make a V, or something that resembles a V. Lift your tailbone up towards the ceiling. Or if you're standing, you're going to kind of be pushing your tailbone back behind you. Good, let's do one more. And we're going to stay on the floor to start today. If you need to stay standing, you can absolutely do a lot of this workout standing. You'll just use a chair or something for support. Grab a quick drink of water. If you need to put something underneath your knees, go ahead and grab a pillow or roll up your mat. I'm using my foam pad. But we're going to be on the floor. So we've got some hands and knees, some on our tummies, but we're going to start with a cat-cow and some scapular push-ups. And again, you can do this sitting, you can do this against a wall. You don't have to be on the floor. That's the great thing about these exercises. But we're just going to start shoulders, or hands shoulder width apart with your wrists under your shoulders and your shoulders pulled into your pocket. And then knees are going to be hip width apart with your knees underneath your hip. So we're kind of 90-90 at the hip and then 90-90 at the knee. And we're just going to cat-cow. And again, we're going for time. So I've got the timer going for a minute. We're going to inhale, squeeze the shoulders together, gentle arch of the back, and we're going to lift the head. And then we exhale, tuck your tail, round your spine like a cat waking up from a nap. So inhale and exhale. Now you can do this sitting in a chair, you can do this standing with your hands on your thighs. This is a little bit of pelvic control. If you don't want to do the arch and the round, if you have issues with your spine, then just belly breathe. So that just means that you can breathe into your belly, expand your tummy. You can still squeeze your shoulder blades together, you just won't arch and round your low back. And we've got 15 seconds. And then we're going to do scapular push-ups. Good. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Scapular push-ups. Now we're going to brace our core, not let the belly move. Elbows are straight. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Push the floor away to separate. So squeeze the shoulder blades together and then separate. What tends to happen is we start to squeeze our shoulders up by our ears. We don't want to use our traps. We want to use the ones right in the middle of our back between our shoulders and push. Belly's in. I know when I squeeze my shoulder blades together, I sometimes arch my low back. This is easier to do standing with your hands on a wall, or if you really just aren't feeling it today, squeeze and don't even have your hands on a wall or a floor at all. So squeeze and then push. If you need to give the hands and wrists a break, feel free. You'll just rest and sit back and then join back in when you're ready. We've got 10 seconds, and we're going to sit back into a child's pose. 2 and 1. So go ahead, sit it back into your child's pose. Reach those arms out. We're going to do a little bit of movement. So we're going to start with the child's pose in the center. Now we're going to walk our hands over to the right. Feel a stretch on the left side of the body. Now walk it to the center and then walk it over to the left and feel a stretch on the right side of the body. And we're going to do that again. So walk it to the center and then walk your hands over to the right. Hips are staying close to the heels. We're just adding a little side bend stretch. And then take it back over to the left, stretching the right side. And if you're feeling a really tight stretch on one side, you can always hold it. Good. Take it back over to the right. We have time for one more set. And then take it over to the left. This is our last 5 seconds. Good. Bring it into the center. We're going to come up into a wide plank position. So hands are underneath our shoulders. We're going to take our legs or our knees nice and wide. And what we're going to do is we're going to lift up into a down dog. And then we're going to come down onto our knees and point your toes and lift up to an up dog. Okay, so your time is on. So we lift up, down dog, come down onto our knees, plank position, point your toes, and you can, if you can, lift up into a variation of up dog. Tuck the toes under, lift it up, nice good hamstring stretch. Take the knees down, point the toes, variation of up dog. Now, if you need to, you can absolutely do a little bit more of a child's pose stretch again, and then try doing a plank with just a little bit of a hip drop. Or if you're standing, wide legs, you can do a down dog, and then you can come up to standing and push down on your hips. And I know this one seems kind of goofy, but it works. Step it back, down dog, bring it forwards, stand tall, push down on your hips. Good. Go ahead and sit it back into a child's pose, just a little bit of a break for your knees. We're going to sit back, child's pose, for just a moment. Now we're going to come forwards. We're going to be on a hands and knees position, but we're going to be on elbows and knees. So we're going to be on our knees. We're going to be on our forearms. You're going to take one hand lightly behind the ear, and we're going to open our shoulder towards the ceiling, and then we're going to take it down, and we're going to switch. So little torso rotation, alternating right, left. So rotate and center, rotate and center. You can do this sitting in a chair. What I want you to do if you're sitting in a chair is you're just going to sit, squeeze the knees together, and you're going to open and then switch and open. The trick with sitting in a chair especially is I don't want you to rotate your hips. So a lot of times when we do this, and like if we're standing, we do this and we open and then our hips come with us. So the trick is to keep your hips pointing forwards and open your shoulder to the side. So you can absolutely do this sitting or standing. And if you're really tight, you might only be able to open a little bit out to the side. And that's okay. That's okay. Good. 3, 2, and 1. We're going to walk our hands back. We're going to come to a kneeling position. We're going to take our right hand onto our right heel. We're going to squeeze the glute. We're going to lift it up, reach towards the ceiling. And then we're going to come down and we're going to switch over to the other side. So your time is on. So hand on the heel, squeeze the glute, open up your hip, have a seat, switching sides. If you're standing, you're going to do one hand, push down on your hips, lift up, switching sides. The hand pushes down on your hip, on your glute, and reach the arm up. So it's not arching your low back and pushing the tummy out. It's pushing down on your hip, which will push your hip forward. So think about pushing the crease right to the front. So it's just if you're kneeling, this is a little bit harder. But I can definitely tell just doing the mobility class once a week, I'm getting so much looser on some of these exercises. Good. 3, 2, and 1. Bring it in. We're going all the way down onto your tummy. So go ahead and move the pad out of the way if you're using one. We're going to do our scorpions. You can do the scorpions against a wall or against a doorway. But we're going to take right arm out to the side, left hand by our chest. We're going to roll into one side and hold it for a few seconds. And then we're going to roll into the other side and hold it. So your time is on. So left hand out, roll into the left shoulder. And this is a good one. If you want to, I'll let you know halfway, and you can hold it for 30 seconds on one side and then 30 seconds on the other. Or just slowly roll into it on one side, count to, 5, and then bring it in and roll to the other side. If you're going to do 30-30, you've got about 5-ish seconds left to switch sides. 2, 1. So you're halfway. So if you're doing 30 seconds on one side, 30 seconds on the other, you should have switched. But we're just slowly rolling side to side, little chest stretch. You can do this against a wall. It's a little goofy against a wall, but it's doable. You're just going to face the wall, and you're going to kind of push to one side, and then glue yourself to the wall and push to the other. Good. Rest. We're going to come onto our buns or sitting in a chair. Give our wrists and our knees a little bit of a break here. Find a comfortable position. That can be cross-legged. It can be butterfly stretch, whatever's comfortable. Hands can be here or behind your ears. And what we're going to do is imagine your back is against the wall. We're going to side bend to the right. We're going to open our left shoulder back like we want to look towards the ceiling. Now we're going to take our left shoulder down, open the right shoulder to the ceiling, right shoulder down, open to the ceiling, left shoulder down, open to the ceiling. So what I want you to imagine is we're kind of drawing a figure 8. So down, open, down, and open. And it's only 2 moves. It's a diagonal bend, open the chest to the ceiling. Diagonal, open to the ceiling. So you should feel this kind of in your upper and mid back. Down and open. Good. And if you're here, same thing. You're just very tall. Side bend to the ceiling. Side bend to the ceiling. We're going to do it one more time each side. So side bend, open to the ceiling, side bend, and open to the ceiling. Good. Bring it in. Give yourself a little bit of a shakeout. We're going to come back up onto our knees for a half kneeling position. We're going to go for our Captain Morgan. If you're standing, you're going to do this in a standing position. It's going to be a variation of the warrior position. So you'll just be on your feet instead of your knees, but you're going to be nice and tall. Shoulder, hip, and knee pointing forwards. This knee can be open to a corner, or if you're flexible enough, it can open out to the side, but this is staying pointing forwards. Tuck your tail, squeeze your glute under. We're going to press the knee out, and then we're going to come back in again, okay? So you have a minute. If it is not comfortable for you to go out and in, you can take it out and you can hold it. So there's nothing wrong with holding it, and then after you relax a little, maybe you can take it out and hold it a little longer. You can do this standing, hip, knee, and toe pointing forwards. Open this leg out to the side, and you're going to go out, and you're going to come in. So this is a standing option if you don't want to be on the floor. Remember, 99% of exercises can be modified for a standing or seated position. But we just go out, and we come back in. We're going to do 3 exercises on the right leg, and then we're going to switch and do the same exercises on the left. Good. And remember, you can always just take it out and hold it. Try to relax. Good technique. And then maybe you can go a little farther. And I'm feeling this one like actually in the outer glute over here. 2 and 1. All right, bring it in. If you are standing, you're going to do weight in the front leg. You're going to do a hip stretch, and then you're going to step in and reach for the toe. So you're going to do a little step back, hamstring stretch, or glute stretch, not glute, hip flexor stretch, and then reach. For those of you on the floor, you're in that half kneeling position. You're going to tuck your tail, push the hip forwards, and then you're going to sit back and you're going to straighten the front knee and lift the toe. Stretch the hamstring. Put your time's on. So hip flexor stretch here, sit it back, straighten your hamstring, pull the toe up. So we're doing front of the hip here, squeezing the glute, shifting our weight back, stretching the back of the leg in front. Sit it back, and then shift your weight. And you might be able to hinge. So if you're a little bit more flexible, you might be able to hinge and take it forwards. Hinge. And nice good reach. And again, we don't want to round our spine with a bent knee. The challenge for this is to straighten the front leg. So you might have to be here. Hold on to something if you need to. You're good. You can see I am not super flexible, but I'm feeling a really, really good stretch here. Here's 2 and 1. Now we're going to go into a pigeon or a modified 90-90. No judgments how you get there. I am going to bring my foot across, and I'm going to take my hands to the floor, and I'm going to come down. So I'm sitting kind of on the side of that front leg. I remove my cushion. You can be in 90-90. You can take your leg farther back into a variation of pigeon. It's whatever feels good for you. And we're going to take it forwards. Nice good hinge. And then we're going to bring it up and sit up nice and tall. So take it forward and bring it up nice and tall. If you are standing, or if you're sitting, I'd recommend sitting for this one. You can do this sitting, or you can be on your back if you're on the floor. And you're just going to do what they call a gentleman's stretch, which is your figure 4. And you can take your leg out and you can lean forward a little and then back off. And lean forward and back off. So that's an option if you're not going to be on the floor today. And you can see this leg, I cannot get this one to straighten out. You'll see a huge difference when I switch over to the other side. This one, I'm on my inner thigh. It's a little different. But when we get to the other side, you'll be able to see that I can do I can go a little bit farther on this leg than the one I'm on now. Good. 3, 2, and 1. Bring it in, shake it out. You can just give your knees a little bit of a wiggle, give your hips a wiggle. We're going to come back up, and we're going to switch over to the other side. We're going to start with our Captain Morgan. So come up into that nice, good half kneeling position. Remember, it can be to a corner or it can be out to a side. The farther out your foot is, the less pressure on your knee. And we're going to do our movement. So your time's on. So shoulder, hip, and knee are forward. This knee tracks over your second toe. We have squeezed our glute right here. And that's an important thing, is sometimes we push our hip back to get closer to the floor. I want you to tuck it under. We're really focusing on working those inner thighs. We take it out, we come in. If you feel pressure on your knee on the inside, make sure that your knee stays in alignment with your toes. If you feel pressure on the front of your knee, make sure that your ankle is far enough out that you're not doing a really big bend on that knee, or that's just where you stop because your knee says we need to stop here. Good. We've got about 10 seconds, and we're going to do our hip flexor to our hamstring. 3, 2, and 1. Good. All right, we're going to take that foot out in front now. We're going to do our tuck the tail, hip flexor, and hamstring. Your time is on. So tuck your tail, squeeze your glute, little push forwards, and then shift your weight back. Front leg straightens, toe gets pulled up towards the ceiling. Take the toe down, tuck your tail, take it forwards, take it back, straighten your leg. This is one, hold on to something if you need to. Remember, when we stretch, we don't want to feel pain, because if you feel pain, your body's like, nope, too far, and it's going to fight you. And we want to work in cooperation with our body. So if you feel pain, we back off so that your body knows, hey, I'm not going to do something that's going to hurt me, and it'll help it relax, and it'll help you get a little bit deeper into that stretch. Good, 10 seconds. Good, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now we're going to go into that pigeon. So again, I just take my front leg and I bring it across. So I'm kind of in a curtsy, and then I can take my hand down and just move to my side. But I'm not going to be fussy with how you get into that position. This is going to be our last floor exercise, and then we're going to go ahead and come up to a standing position when you're ready. But your time is on. So start with your 90-90. We're right here. We go forwards, and then we come up nice and tall. If you can open up that leg a little bit more, go for it. But today, it's okay. Today it kind of feels like both legs are super tight. So we work with how our body's feeling today. If you want to, you can absolutely just take it forward and hold it. If this is getting a good stretch for you and you feel it, then we're okay. And I am definitely feeling super, super tight today. So a little forward fold and bring it up. Good, and we've got about 12 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Go ahead and bring it in. I'm going to come over onto my hands and knees, and I'm going to come up to standing. No judgments how you come up to standing. It's whatever is going to feel good for you today. I'm just going to go ahead and walk myself up nice and slow. Remember, because we're on the floor and we're going to come up to standing, we want to make sure that our blood goes where it's supposed to. This is your chance to grab a quick drink if you need it. So I am going to find a wall. I'm going to lean back against the wall. I'm going to have my feet just, well, I suppose my feet are probably about a foot away from the wall. What I want to do is I just want to lift my toes and then set it down. So I stay against the wall, I lift my toes, and I set it down. So you're on for about a minute. So you can do this holding onto a wall if you need to, if you don't have a wall to hold on to or to lean back against. But what we're focusing on is the shins. So leaning back and having my feet out in front of me, I can't cheat, I guess, even if it's unintentional. I can't rock. So I'm really going to be able to focus on using the shin muscles. So my knees are straight. I'm lifting my toes up to the ceiling. And I go up, my body goes up a little, like maybe an inch. But these are just really good exercises for the fronts of your legs. Good shin work. Got 15 seconds. Good, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring it in. I'm going to come back up to standing. If you want to do this against a wall, great. But we're going to tuck our ribs, palms facing forwards. I want you to give yourself a nice big reach. Notice my arms are staying glued to that wall, hands behind the head. Glued to the wall, rotate thumb down, back of the hand comes towards the low back, maybe it goes to your buns. Out to the side, rotate, bring it up, out to the side, rotate, and down. And this is one, if you can, if you've got a wall with an open space, this is a really good one to do against the wall, because a lot of us don't realize that as soon as we get out to about here, we start coming to the front and our elbows come in. So it's hard trying to keep the arms against the wall. Or we start to arch our low back and we don't even realize it. Good. Bring it in, arms down, thumbs pointing forwards. Let's roll the shoulders up, back, and down into our back pocket. All right, shoulders down, ear to shoulder. We're going to do side to side head tilts, keeping our torso nice and level. I was talking to my other students in one of my other classes, and it's wherever your head goes, your body likes to follow. So sometimes it's hard to get our head to work independently of the rest of our body. Bring the head up, pull the chin back slightly, look to the right, look to the left. So it's okay if you only look corner to corner. Four, 3, 2, 1. Bring it in the center. Just a couple deep breaths in here. Big breath in. Spread the fingers, spread the toes. And exhale. One more time. Big breath in. And out. And you are all done.